Welcome to another episode of Software Explorations, hosted by yours truly, the one, the only tech coach Ralph, where, above all else, we are engineered to win. I love winning. I love to see you win. We celebrate our accomplishments here. We work through our trials and tribulations together here so that once we get out there on the battlefield, we can go out there and dominate, prioritize, execute, and dominate. Dominate the field, dominate your competition. That is what we're about. So that's why we work so hard every single day, no days off. Let's get to work. All right. So today in Software Explorations, we're going to be talking about controllers, not the people who are around here controlling your every actions. No, we've been talking about APIs the past few weeks. We talked about just what APIs are. We talked about how to test APIs. We even went into automating APIs along with live streams to follow, right? So let's get a little bit deeper into APIs and stuff like that. I want to talk about controllers, right? What are controllers? That's what we're going to get into today. So let's not waste any more time because time is money, all right? So let's jump into it. Let's find out about controllers. We are going to be understanding controllers. All right, so let's get into talking about controllers and figuring out what they are. So our agenda for today, the past couple of weeks, we've been talking about APIs and how to test APIs. We even did some live streams on it. So we're going to have a recap of that. We're going to figure out, why am I talking about controllers today? Why did I decide to take this on? What are controllers? The MVC architecture, the responsibilities of controllers, some example of controller functionality, best practices, and then we're going to wrap things up. Okay, so let's jump right into it. So the past few weeks, we've talked about APIs and how to test them, how to automate them. So we said API stands for Application Programming Interface. APIs allow integration, efficiency, and innovation. We spoke about the benefits of API testing, some technology and tools around API testing, and the benefits of API automation and even live implementations on our live streams. Any information on that, go back to our previous software explorations videos, as well as our previous Thursday live streams where we did so much work around API testing, and we'll continue in our coming weeks. All right. So why did I want to talk about controllers today? So number one, it is for personal knowledge and understanding. I've been working with APIs for so long, and I would see these classes of controllers, but I never really understood exactly what they did. And I was like, being that we're talking about APIs, let's figure out what these controllers are, what it means, and we can just take, the world is ours from there, right? So I want to, and that's why I want to have a comprehensive understanding of the things that we work on. To me, it is so much easier to be able to use and to test the things that we work on if we actually understand them. So let's dive into figuring out what role the controllers play. And that is going to empower us to do our jobs better. I always want to get 1% better every single day. Just continue to grow. All right. Better communication and understanding between developers and QAs. So when the developers are sending us like, oh, it's this where in the class, and I'm like, this looks kind of foreign to me. Well, I could just sit there and be lost, or we can learn together what controllers are so that once we're having this conversation, we're not looking like we're on an island. Okay. And then it allows us to contribute to the conversation and the implementation even better. Because now if I understand controllers, like, oh, what about doing this in the controller? That would help in this way. And although the customers don't see it at that layer, we can contribute to being that advocate for the customer that is going to give them a better experience. Right? So what are controllers? Let's figure out what in the world are controllers. Controllers act as intermediaries between the user interface and the backend logic of an application. They receive input, they do something with input, they process it, and then they send commands to the model and view components, right? So they're controlling the action, right? They're controlling the action. In the context of APIs, controllers handle incoming requests, execute the necessary operations, and send back the response. So the information comes in, and if something needs to be done in the back end to, whatever it is that might be, it's going to take care of that. And then it's going to send back the response of, okay, we're done. Everything is good. Or, there's a problem here. There's a problem here. So the MVC architecture. Controllers are a key part in the model view controller architecture pattern. And I've seen the MVC so many times, but I never even knew what it stood for. And that's my fault. I wasn't diligent enough. I wasn't vigilant enough to do the work that I was supposed to do to figure out what is MVC. Like I would work on it. I would test things, but knowing exactly what, so model view controller. And we can even dive deeper into that in a future software explorations, right? Model represents the data and business logic. One more time. Model represents the data and business logic. Very important. View presents the data to the user interface. So how does it look? How do we present it to our users? The controller, what we're talking about today, manages the communication between the model and the view. If you guys remember the movie Office Space, where we had, so he was the controller, because he would take the information that would be provided by like the customers or some team, and he would bring it down to the engineers, to the developers. He was the controller, right? So let's keep going. What are the responsibilities for the controllers, right? So routing, it determines which controller should handle a particular request based on the URL or route, depending on where you're from. Request handling, it receives incoming requests, then processes them and invokes the appropriate action. Right, so that's what the controller does. More responsibilities of the controller, right? Data processing. It retrieves data from the model, it processes it, and prepares it for the presentation view. So it takes raw data, and then it's okay, with this data, this is how we're going to format it. And now, because now the view layer is going to take that and it's going to make it look, pretty, make it look usable. That's where the user interface comes in, right? Response handling. It sends back the appropriate responses to the client, whether it's HTML for web pages or JSON for APIs, right? So taking that data and sanitizing it, making it clean, right? So let's get into an example of controllers. We'll use e-commerce, for example. When a user adds an item to the shopping cart, the request is routed to the cart controller. Now, what does the cart controller do with this? The cart controller retrieves the item information from the database, updates the cart model, and prepares the data for display. So when you think about it, right, you have a database that has all the products that you have. It has how much inventory is in stock and everything like that. And now you go and you add an item to the cart. So now it pulls the SKU, it sees if they're still available in stock, depending on, how sophisticated the shopping cart is. And sometimes they'll even say, like when you see on Amazon, there's 2 of these items left, order quickly. Which I wonder, is there really 2 of those items left? Who knows, right? Anyways, so now it says, okay, this is how much that's in stock. This is the price of the item. This is the SKU number of the item. And now adds it to the cart. So the cart controller retrieves the information from the database, updates the cart model, and prepares the data for display. Finally, the updated cart view is rendered and sent back to the user's browser. So all the information that's coming from the API, it prepares the data, and now the user interface plops it into place where everything should go. And there can be multiple controllers at play, right? So let's say the user has logged in and it's showing, "Welcome, Tech Coach Ralph." That is probably using some form of the user controller that's showing the, like, my name, things like that. So you have to think about it. There are controllers all over the place. And now let's say you finish you place your order. So now there's going to be a controller to go and update the database of products to say, so not only there's a controller for placing the order, and now the controller for updating the database has to go say, okay, now we had 10 items in stock. Now that the order has gone through, now we have 9 items in stock. And now let's say it runs out of stock. It has to say, okay, there's no available items in stock. So it can either show on the site, like it doesn't show the product at all because it's not in stock, or it shows an out of stock message. So many controllers at play just within like a simple e-commerce site. Now, what are the best practices for working with controllers? So, number 1, keep the controllers thin. Controllers should primarily handle request and response logic. Business logic should be delegated to other components such as services or models, right? So the controller single responsibility is just handling the request, response, what goes in, what goes out. Everything else, put them on different layers. Use dependency injections. Inject dependencies rather than hard coding them within the controllers, promoting modularity and testability, right? I hate hard coding things. When I'm looking through the code and like something that is hard coded, I'm like, oh, we got to find a way to parameterize this because I want to be able to send different information so that we can have more dynamic testing and expand. So always remember one, keep it dynamic. Okay, keep routes explicit. Clearly define routes and actions within controllers to maintain clarity and consistency in the application structure. Okay, so 3 quick best practices for handling controllers. I'm sure there are so many more that developers can be more than willing to share if you ask. All right. Now, in conclusion, controllers play a vital role in software development, serving as the bridge between the user interface, business logic, and data. Understanding the responsibilities and best practices can lead to well-structured and maintainable applications and APIs. So what are the next steps? Let's see if we can review some controller code briefly, and then feel free to leave any questions, thoughts, feedback in the comments. I love hearing from you. Do you think I'm off on something? Because look, I'm learning this with you, right? So if I'm missing anything, if you are a software developer, software engineer, or if you're in QA and you have more understanding of the controllers and you think I missed something, please let me know and I will make sure to do a follow-up video on it so that we can get everything taken care of. I would love to hear from you. I really, really appreciate your feedback. So let's go back to full screen. All right, so let's see if we can find any controllers that we can take a quick look at the code to see if it says anything to us, get a better understanding. Now that I've gone through this little presentation, maybe it can give me some more insight into controllers. So let's see what we can find. All right, so I found this controller in GitHub. This is for a C# project, I believe, but let's take a look at it to see what, like it might be a little bit foreign to us, but let's take a look at it to see what's going on and have a, somewhat of at least a view of it, and then we can probably build upon it in the future, right? So let's go over to our share screen. All right, so I have here, I just was looking through GitHub and I found this repo called Clean Controllers by Zhao Souza. And so this right here is called a person controller, right? And this is in C#. So it says, so the namespace Clean Controllers, API controllers. So the route is API, and then you pass in the like which controller. And so this is going to be an HTTP. So this is a post request. So the controller is saying this is a post request to add, and you should get a status code of 200 OK, or a status code of 400 bad request, or 500 internal server error. And then this is what it's doing. So it's saving I guess it's adding a new user. Based on the body that you send. This is probably based off the model, I'd be guessing. And then there's the HTTP put to update. And that's going to be also send you a 200 request if it's successful, or 400 if it's bad, or a 500 internal server error if there's something that is not handled. And then you're doing an update request, delete, same thing. And then you're deleting by the ID, it looks like. Let's see what else. Then you can do a get request by the ID. And then there's a get all to get all of the users, right? So that's pretty much what this says, breaking it down. It's like I said, it is a bit confusing at first glance at it, but what we can do in the future, we can do on a live stream, getting a better understanding of how all these things work together so that when we're reading the code and we're doing our testing or development, whichever side of the spectrum you fall on, right? Then we have a better understanding and we can just jump right in, and instead of just looking around, feeling lost and uncomfortable. Let's do the opposite. Let's just jump into it and see what in the world is going on, and let's get our hands dirty. Dirty hands is a sign of hard work. Okay. So, and I'm sure there's more to this, there's middleware, there's probably somewhere for the models and stuff like that. So we just have to do our due diligence, get familiar with this stuff, and we can go from there. But for now, that's enough. That's enough for now, right? So that's it for today. I hope that this helped. I hope that you got a little bit more information, a little bit more knowledge, a little bit more confidence in the things that you're going to be working on or the things that you do work on, right? I know that it certainly helped me getting a better understanding of controllers, and I am looking forward to continue this journey with you. Yes, with you. Yes, yep, definitely with you, right? So that being said, I am going to wrap this up for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Like I said earlier, if you have any thoughts, comments, feedback, please, if you think I need to go deeper or touch on something else, please go ahead and drop me a comment and I'll be sure to respond and we'll do follow-ups. I love to do follow-ups. So that being said, if you haven't done so already, do me a huge favor, huge favor. Go ahead and like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you can know every single time that we go live or drop new content, which we drop so much content, something here for everyone. So go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. And if you need additional one-on-one coaching from me, go over to www.techcoachralph.dev where you can sign up for a coaching plan as well as get access to exclusive content that is not put anywhere else but there. Okay. So with that being said, I'm going to get out of here. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is Tech Coach Ralph and we are out.
If you enjoyed the fascinating information shared in this video and you want more, be sure to hit the subscribe button to Tech Coach Ralph to be notified for new videos.